So coming to another use of textures. Textures, as we know, are used widely for adding surface detail. So we have seen that you can add surface detail by using textures to represent colors and intensity variations. But there is another way in which you can use textures to add surface detail. And that is by storing or modifying either the normals or the vertices of a surface. So imagine that you have a geometry, right? And the geometry looks like this curved surface. However, what you draw is a flat surface. But instead of using the normals of the flat surface, you adjust the normals of the flat surface so that they look like the normals of the curved surface. From some angles, this surface will look like the curved surface. So you are actually faking the surface detail just by perturbing the normals. So if you only perturb the normals and store these perturbations in the texture map, then that texture map is called a bump map, and the process is called bump mapping. You can completely replace the normals of one surface by normals of another surface. So you can replace the normals of the flat surface by the normals of curved surface. And you can do this by storing the normals of the curved surface directly into a texture map, in which case the texture map is known as a normal map. The third case that I want to talk about is that you can perturb the vertices of this flat surface, that the flat surface changes and looks more like the curved surface that you had. And these vertex displacements are what you store in the texture map. Let us look at bump mapping, normal mapping, and displacement mapping in slightly more detail. So we start with bump mapping. So in a bump map, you have an object and you have a texture that stores deviations of the normals of this object, okay? Perturbations of the normals of this object, and the perturbations can be encoded into a grayscale image. So every point on the bump map encodes a perturbation to the normal. When you apply the bump map to a smooth surface, the normals get perturbed and the bump map object looks visibly different from the original object. So here you can see that this smooth orange sphere now looks like a orange fruit, just because you applied bump mapping to it. Okay? So the idea is that given a smooth surface, which is represented by this red curve, you have changed the surface says appearance by perturbing the normal to these blue normals. The way this is done is that you use the gradient of an image to store these perturbations. Now, what is the gradient of an image? Do not be worried if you do not know what do we mean by gradient of an image. The gradient of an image is simply the change in intensity along a direction. If I say compute the horizontal gradient of an image, then you compute the change in the horizontal direction across pixels. Similarly, the vertical gradient will be the change in intensity across the vertical direction for a column of pixels. Okay? So if you compute the gradient in the horizontal direction and the vertical direction, and you take these two gradient values to be vectors, you can add these two to get a resultant vector. That resultant vector is the perturbation that you add to that normal that you have. So for example, in this example, consider that you get a gradient here that is of this size, a vertical gradient, and you get a horizontal gradient here that is of this size. So the resultant gradient at this might be this vector, right? This is the perturbation that you have encoded at this pixel. Okay, so this perturbation is what is applied when you are applying a bump map. So we will not go into details about how is a bump map created and all that, but it is fairly efficient to apply the bump map at runtime, and it can produce reasonably surprising looking results. Bump maps treat the grayscale map as a height field so that the gradient of the image gives you the bump map. And bump maps perturb existing normals on the surface. But bump maps can only produce the appearance of small scale depth variations on the surface. So the difference in the surface of an orange to a perfectly smooth orange sphere may be very less, right? So the indentations on the surface of an orange are smaller in size compared to the size of the orange. So bump maps are very good when you want to create these small scale, the appearance of these small scale discontinuities in height or small scale bumps on the surface. Okay, it is not very useful for creating larger variations or giving the appearance of larger variations to surface geometry. On the other hand, you can also do normal mapping where you can store the components of the normals of a surface in an RGB image. And how can you do this? You can take a higher resolution surface where you have very detailed normals. You can store these normals into a texture map that is called a normal map. And then you can take a lower resolution, flatter, smoother surface and replace its normals by these normals that you copied from a higher resolution surface, thereby making your low res surface look like a high res surface. So the application of normal maps is trivial. There is no gradient computation to get a perturbation and so you directly replace the normals of the surface at runtime by the normals stored in your normal map. What are the kind of effects that you can create with a normal map? So here is a geometry of a car and this is the original smooth geometry. You can apply a normal map to this and produce this huge indentation on the surface of the car. So this geometry here actually does not exist. This has been created by perturbing the normals in this part of the scene. Normal maps are very widely used. The only problem with normal maps is that normal maps are slightly difficult to create. You can not directly hand paint a normal map unless you are very skilled. You need specialized software to create normal maps. As an example of what I was mentioning earlier, here we see that we have a very high resolution character model which has 2 million polygons. Now I want to use this character model in a game, and imagine in a game there are thousands of these character models that I want to use in a scene. Now if each character model has 2 million polygons or even 2 million triangles, then my scene is going to render very slowly. It's just too much geometry passing through my graphics pipeline. So what is done is that I create one high resolution model. I read the normals of this into a normal map. Then I create a low resolution version of this model. So you can see that the low poly model has only 5000 polygons. At render time, I replace the normals of the low poly model with the normals stored in my normal map. And the output that you get looks like this. Output looks really high resolution, whereas you do not have any of this geometry burdening your graphics pipeline. So this is an example from Unreal Engine from the Gears of War game. You can see that the results are astonishingly good. So normal maps are very widely used in real-time applications like games and virtual reality. Now we come to displacement mapping. Displacement mapping is a simple idea. You start with a low-res base mesh. You tessellate this base mesh to get a high-resolution base mesh, and this high resolution base mesh can be obtained on the fly because you can do tessellation at runtime. Then a displacement map is simply a height map where every pixel intensity just records the height or depth of that pixel. So you can assume that if the pixel is colored, say, darker than the mean gray level, then that pixel represents a dip in the height. If that pixel is colored brighter than the mean gray level, then it is considered to be higher in elevation than the mean elevation level. You apply this displacement map by directly perturbing the vertices of the high resolution tessellated mesh, and you get a displaced mesh. Now on top of the displaced mesh, you can apply a normal texture map to get the colors of the fragments. So this is just a normal texture mapping, and what you get is the rendered view of a terrain. So this is very commonly used for rendering terrain. So whenever you see visualizations of the surface of the moon or the surface of Mars created by ISRO or NASA, they are using displacement mapping. Even applications like Google Earth, when you are far away from the Earth model, you pretty much see a flat Earth. But as you get your camera closer to the Earth model, Google Earth's application program applies a displacement map, and then you can start to perceive mountains and valleys and other topographic details. So that is also a very smart use of texture maps to produce levels of detail in your model. This brings us to the end of our discussion of texture maps and uses of texture maps. Thank you.